Yo, what is up, Epic Nation? It's Noah Herrin here, and I want to talk to you today about hearing God's voice. Is it tricky? Is it simple? Do we overcomplicate it sometimes? Why do I hear him really well certain times in my life, and other times it seems like he's silent? I want to talk to you about that exact thing right now. Let's talk about hearing God's voice. My first cell phone was the Motorola Razr, arguably the greatest cell phone ever invented. I was in the 7th grade, I had 7 numbers in it, and every single person in my phone had their own ringtone. My best friend in the 7th grade, his name was Gary Bob Baker, and my ringtone for Gary Bob Baker was no other song other than Redneck Yacht Club. Redneck Yacht Club. Na, 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 na. Every time he would send me a text message, every time he would call me, my phone would light up and it would begin to play the lyrics of the song Redneck Yacht Club. We were communicating so much that it got to the point where I didn't even need to hear the full song. I would only need to hear one note to know who was trying to get in touch with me. I recognized who was calling because I was used to getting the call. Something I get asked a lot is, how do I hear the voice of God? How will I know when he's speaking to me? Jesus said this in John chapter 10, verse 27. He said, "My sheep will recognize my voice. I know them and they follow me." Sheep know their shepherd because they spend time in the same field. Just like I began to recognize the voice of my best friend's ringtone, the more you speak to God, the more you communicate with Jesus, the more you'll begin to recognize his voice in your life. I have good news. There's no trick to hearing God's voice. You don't hear God better because you upgrade your cell phone service from Sprint to Verizon. You hear God better because you spend more time with him. You hear God more because you get used to hearing his voice. You hear God because you're one of his sheep, and his sheep know his voice. Simply put, if you want to hear God, just spend time with him. There's a snake in my boat.